Top 7 onion farming secrets that will shock you. The hidden onion farming truth that will transform your income. These are shocking secrets for elite onion farming. Secret number 5. The weed war reality. Why onions are terrible competitors. The 5th shocking secret that explains why so many farmers struggle with onion profitability is the brutal truth about onion weed competition that extension manuals downplay. Onions are absolutely terrible competitors against weeds, arguably the weakest competitor among all major vegetable crops, and even modest weed pressure reduces yields by 30 to 60%. Yet most farmers dramatically underinvest in weed control, trying to minimize labor costs, when in reality, aggressive early weed management is the single highest return investment in the entire production cycle, delivering 10 to 20 times returns on every shilling spent on weeding. The shocking revelation that devastates farmers when they calculate it is that they are saving 50,000 shillings by conducting fewer weeding sessions while simultaneously losing 8 to 12 tons of yields worth 150,000 to 250,000 shillings. They are losing 5 shillings for every 1 shilling saved, making inadequate weed control the most expensive economy in farming. Therefore, understanding why onion weed competition is so destructive requires examining onion growth characteristics that make them uniquely vulnerable. Onions have tiny, thin leaves with minimal surface area, creating poor shading of surrounding soil, meaning unlike crops like beans or maize that shade out weeds once canopy closes, onion canopies never create weed-suppressing shade, even at maturity. Weeds happily grow between onion plants throughout the entire growing season if not controlled. Onion root systems are shallow and weak, with most roots in the top 15 centimeters of soil, where fast-growing weeds also concentrate their roots. This direct competition for moisture and nutrients means weeds literally steal resources from onions, reducing bulb development. Most critically, onions are extremely sensitive to competition during the first 6 to 8 weeks after planting, when the critical number of leaves determining final bulbs or final bulb size is being established. Weeds during this window permanently reduce potential yield by limiting leaf development, and subsequently, weed control can prevent further losses but cannot recover the yield already sacrificed to early competition. The final devastation of inadequate weed control operates through multiple mechanisms simultaneously. Direct yield loss from nutrient and water competition typically reduces yields by 3 to 6 tons per acre, representing 60,000 to 120,000 shillings foregone. Weeds harbor pests and diseases that cross-infect onions, multiplying pest control costs and losses. Dense weeds make harvest operations difficult and slower, increasing labor costs. Most insidiously, weeds allowed to flower and set seed create massive weed banks in your soil, ensuring worst weed problems in subsequent seasons. One season of poor weed control creates 3 to 5 seasons of elevated weed pressure and costs. When you add these cumulative effects, inadequate weed control easily costs farmers 200,000 to 400,000 shillings per acre annually. Yet they hesitate to spend 50,000 to 80,000 on proper control, thinking it is too expensive. The false economy is tragically obvious once you calculate actual costs. The correction requires accepting that intensive weed management is not optional in onion production. It is absolutely mandatory for profitable yields. Therefore, implement a comprehensive weed control program, combining multiple approaches. First, achieve clean seedbed, thorough stale seedbed techniques before planting. Prepare your field completely. Wait for first flush of weeds to germinate across the field. Then eliminate all weeds with very shallow cultivation or herbicide application. Then plant immediately into weed-free bed, giving your onions a head start. Second, apply pre-emergence herbicide like pendimethalin within 48 hours after transplanting or seeding, creating a chemical barrier that prevents weed seed germination for 4 to 6 weeks. This costs 15,000 to 25,000 shillings per acre, but eliminates the need for 2 to 3 early hand weedings, saving 60,000 to 90,000 shillings in labor, while protecting critical early growth when competition is most damaging. Third, conduct first hand weeding at 3 to 4 weeks post-planting, removing any weeds that escaped pre-emergence control. This weeding is absolutely critical and must be thorough. Fourth, conduct second hand weeding at 6 to 7 weeks, maintaining zero weed tolerance through the critical bulb initiation stage. Fifth, conduct weeding at 10 weeks, keeping field clean during peak bulb expansion. Sixth, conduct final weeding at 13 to 14 weeks, ensuring no weeds interfere with harvest operations. This 6-point weed control program, combining chemical and cultural approaches, seems intensive and expensive at first glance, but when you calculate returns, the investment logic becomes overwhelming. Total cost is approximately 80,000 to 120,000 shillings, 15,000 to 25,000 for herbicide, plus 65,000 to 95,000 for 4 hand weeding sessions. Without this program, your yield is 15 tons per acre, gross revenue of 2 million and 2.55 million shillings. With the proper weed control, yield is 35 tons gross revenue. That is 5.95 million shillings. Additional income of 3.4 million shillings from 100,000 shillings investment equals 34 to 1 return. Show me any other agricultural investment delivering 34 times returns, and I will invest everything I own in it. Proper weed control is literally the most profitable investment in your entire onion budget. Yet, it is the area where farmers most frequently try to economize. Troubleshooting weed control challenges requires early aggressive intervention because waiting until weeds are large and established makes control 10 times more difficult and expensive. If pre-emergence herbicide seems ineffective with weeds still emerging heavily, you either applied too late after weeds had already germinated, applied insufficient water for activation, or experienced heavy rain within 24 hours after application that washed herbicide away. Apply within 48 hours of planting before weed germination. Irrigate lightly if no rain occurs within 72 hours. And don't apply immediately before pre-heavy rains. If hand weeding seems never ending, with weeds constantly reappearing, you are weeding too shallowly, leaving roots intact that pre-sprout. Weed thoroughly, removing entire root systems. The most shocking revelation about weed control is that intensive management early in the season dramatically reduces labor requirements later. Spend extra effort achieving perfect weed control in weeks 1 through 8, and you will have minimal weed problems weeks 9 through harvest because you prevented weed seeding and depleted the soil weed bank. Top 7 onion farming secrets that will shock you. Secret number 6. The harvest timing bombshell. Why everyone harvests too early. Click the link in the description below and watch this very inspiring, revolutionary approach that will inspire your onion farming endeavor for best. Thank you.